We are going to look at a very quick app to help us wrap our brains around the idea of databases. So this is part of a series to look at how you can use Python to write software that's hosted in the internet. And the hope is, regardless of your Python background, you ought to find something inside this lecture which will challenge you, regardless of your level. So just a good attitude to keep in mind will be focus less on syntax and more on concepts, since we're going to get to databases right away. We're just starting with this conceptually. So what I've done here, and you do not need to type code on your own machine, but what I've done here is I've started to create a file that will be a place where we can write our multiplication code. I'm going to go ahead and change the color so that we can actually see this more easily. And I'm going to make it larger. Great. So I'm printing out the word hello. You're going to see me running this from the terminal now. And it prints the word hello. So the first goal, before we really get cranking, I wrote out some goals for us to cover today. I want to list the basic features of how you could write a multiplication app and talk about the connection to databases. So on the face of it, multiplying is not a task that we must use a computer in order to do, right? We all can multiply. We can use pen and paper, or we can use calculators, etc. However, writing a small guessing game where the user has to put in the right answer is an opportunity for us to discuss how you can use a database and how you can store whatever they type into a database, and then how we can reference it later. So we have two learning objectives today. We're going to list the features of this app and write it. Then we're going to talk about why it's useful to store data in a database at all. And after watching this little series of lectures, you should be able to go home and write this application on your own. You can write it just at the command line, meaning a text-only version. And then you should also be able to write code to access data in a database. So let's begin by looking at the basic features of a multiplication app. So I'm going to go ahead and list them here in this file. I'm just going to list them as comments. And as we go along, we can turn the comments into code. So the first thing we need to do is set a range of integers that will test the user on. We'll need to create some sort of loop. We're going to ingest the user input. We might have to prompt them first. Okay, prompt the user. Prompt the user for input. Prompt the user with a problem, let's say, with a specific problem, specific multiplication problem. And what I'm doing now is a technique you can use in all of your code. You can just write comments and start to flesh them out with code as you so feel. And let's look here. So once we get their input, we're going to check whether the user is right, and we're going to store the data in a database. All right, so I'm going to give you a pause right now with paper or just in your mind with a partner. I want you to pause the video and look at these items and see which of these you can go ahead and write in code. And I'm going to say, please skip this database one for now, since I'm guessing you don't know it. That's why we're all here today. But go ahead and see which of these you already know in Python code. And if you're new to Python and don't know any of it, don't worry about it. We'll help you out in the next video.